Well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. Glad you could join us. Oh dear me. Dear me. How did we end up here? Lawerence, Okoli. Hot sauce. How did we end up here in Bournemouth? On our ass. More in 3 occasions you were knocked down. I didn't see the fight, thank God. But you were knocked down 3 times. You made it 12. We made it to the 12th round. You were knocked down 3 times by the man known as CBS, Billiam Smith, in his hometown of Bournemouth. How the mighty have fallen. Lawerence Okoli. Many on here were telling me Ingram is the best cruiserweight in the world. Ingram, Lawerence Okoli, yeah, he's going to unify the division. Then he's going to go up to the heavyweight division and he's going to become a heavyweight champion of the world. Well, that might happen. But, I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm not going to tell you I told you so. But what I am going to say is that if you remember rightly, if you're going to give me my props here, I said Lawerence Okoli is the second coming of Henry Akinwande. And I tell you what fight it was that made me think, no, this is Henry Akinwande. He fought for the European title. And I remember the guy hit him with a shot. And he clinched for dear life. And I thought to myself, you know what? This clinching, this hugging is so much like Henry Akinwande. Do yourself a favor. Go and watch Henry Akinwande. Go and watch Henry Akinwande versus Lennox Lewis. Anytime Lennox hit Akinwande with a punch, he would hold him tight and grab onto him with octopus arms. You know, let's spool this back a bit. You know, you're fighting Billam Smith in his hometown. You're the champion in a voluntary defense against a guy that nobody particularly cares about apart from in the UK, those in Bournemouth. No disrespect. Billam Smith is a good guy. You know, he's a family man, like most boxers are, and he's a trier. British, Commonwealth, European, and now become world champion. Wait. Let me ask you a question. What the hell are you doing in Bournemouth, Lawerence Okoli? And then you're fighting a guy who your trainer you recently broke up with. You look terrible in your last fight. And then you're going to fight against your really good mate. So you had a breakup with your trainer, Shane McGuigan, where actually, arguably, you look better with Shane McGuigan. Then you break up with Shane McGuigan. No, you break up with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom. First thing. So there was aggro with that. Then you break up, obviously leaving Eddie Hearn, you break up with Shane McGuigan. You join Sugar Hill. You still have a really good relationship with Billam Smith. And you're going to go fight the guy in his hometown. And you know he's a family man. And you know how much it means to him to win a world title. Some guys are just raw. And they will knock you out savagely and then take you out for a pint afterwards. Okoli's not that man. Okoli is not that man. And even, Okoli was gracious in defeat. He probably knew his ass was going to get beat up on the night. And he sort of accepted, like, I'm going to get beat up by this guy tonight. I'm going to get beat up by him tonight. He said, I was looking for the knockout. You damn well know you sparred this guy enough times. You more or less know what this guy's punching power is about. You know what the guy's about. And historically, if Lawerence Okoli gets hit, he's going to tie up. I told people a long time ago about Lawerence Okoli. You get inside on Lawerence Okoli, it's Christmas Day. Christmas came early for Billam Smith. It was all, as far as I'm concerned, not a good move for Lawerence Okoli. He should have gone and fought Richard Riakporhe. At least if you get beat by Richard Riakporhe, it would have been a more exciting fight. Now, here's my point. I said that Richard Riakporhe would beat Lawerence Okoli. He'd knock him out. I think Richard Riakporhe is the best cruiserweight in the world. I'm quite happy to be proven wrong on that. But I think Richard Riakporhe is the best cruiserweight in the world. He hasn't won a world title yet. He's only beaten Billam Smith, by the way. But let me just remind you of that. But I think Richard Riakporhe is the best cruiserweight in the world. And if you give me Richard Riakporhe and you give me Lawerence Okoli, I'm taking Richard Riakporhe every time. One punch knockout power. Smooth in what he does. Doesn't get flustered. Far more marketable. And far more exciting to watch. Richard Riakporhe. I think he's the best cruiserweight in the world. I'm waiting to be proven wrong on that. But one thing I have not been proven wrong on is that Lawerence Okoli is the second coming of Henry Akinwande. What the hell are you doing in Bournemouth? I don't know. Best cruiserweight in the world in Bournemouth. The voluntary defense. Why Bournemouth? I don't understand. I don't get it. But anyway, congratulations to Billam Smith. There will be a rematch. The thing is, problem with Okoli, it's a mental thing. I think Okoli's been knocked out badly in sparring before. And I think since that event, I remember him in the amateurs getting done in the amateurs. Getting knocked out in the amateurs. And getting knocked out quite badly in amateurs as well. It's on YouTube. I think some guys, there's some guys who don't like getting hit. There's some guys who don't like getting hit, but accept it's part of the sport and are able to brace it and are fortunate enough to be able to take the punches. And there are other guys that don't like getting hit and can't take the punches. And Lawerence Okoli is one of, as far as I'm concerned, he's one of them guys. So some of the guys, look, grabbing and hugging, or grabbing, there's tactically hugging. So tactically hugging, for example, would be Evander Holyfield when he fought Mike Tyson. Evander Holyfield would get close to Tyson, hug him, and push Mike back. So then he kept Mike against the ropes, and then he could throw punches. That's strategically holding a guy up and then pushing a guy back. There's that. There's a thing that Roy Jones used to do. Roy Jones would, he'd get in a clinch with you, right? And then what he would do is that he would walk around the back of the referee and then get him to strategically, so he's back in the center of the ring. You're not going to hit a guy if he's going around the back of the referee. Watch Roy Jones. He'd go slip around the back of the referee to get himself back into center ground and then control the space. That's what they mean by controlling space. That's what Evander Holyfield did when he fought Mike Tyson. Mike wanted to have a fight. He said, when Mike wanted to fight, I would box. And when Mike wanted to fight, I would box. And when Mike wanted to box, I would fight. Tie Mike up, push him back to the ropes. Don't allow him to get any rhythm. Don't allow him to get any momentum. Because when you get momentum and rhythm, you get confidence. Don't let him get confident throwing 4 or 5 punches. Push this guy back. Push him back. As my trainer used to say, back him up, beat him up. Back him up, beat him up. But to back him up and beat him up, you've got to strategically get away there. And I don't mean taking a whole heap of punches to get a guy to the back of the ropes. So, Lawerence Okoli was with Sugar Hill, 1, 2 fights? I would not have gone anywhere near a Billam fight. Not because I think Billam Smith is an outrageously great fighter. I just think that the timing. That's why there's such thing as timing in boxing. People go, take Billam Smith. It's a good fight to take. No. You're fighting Billam Smith. You're the way fighter. You've got a good relationship with Billam Smith. You just split up with Shane McGuigan. Why the hell would you take that fight? It's a voluntary defense. I'll make a few adjustments and come back. Listen, there's some things you can't adjust mentally. There's some things you cannot adjust. Guys, Chris Smith was given a fight with points deduction and 2 fake knockdowns. Well, listen to me. I didn't watch the fight. But I don't need to see the fight to know Lawerence Okoli is hugging. And Lawerence Okoli is the second coming of Henry Akinwande. I know that much, Anthony. I know that much. So where he is here, again, he should not have been in Bournemouth. Can you imagine? That's like, Jesus Christ. World Cruiserweight Champion. If anything, that fight should have been in Hackney. Not in freaking Bournemouth. The powers that be, of course. Now, okay, let me roll this back up the page because I think I like what Anthony's saying. I predicted Wood by decision. We'll talk about Wood. Okoli and CBS were terrible. LOL. Big up Richard Riakporhe. Yeah, he knocked both of them out. Big up Ingram. Of course. Thank you very much. Dwyer probably laughing right now at that Okoli result. Okay. Last night was a good weekend for boxing. CBS would not take no for an answer. You step up in levels. It gets harder. Okoli found that out. Of course. Greetings to you. Greetings to you, Shook. Thank you for being a member. I really appreciate your membership and your loyalty. Really appreciate you, brother. Colin was getting into a firefight with Lopez where he did not have to. That was a winnable fight for him and chose to stand in exchange, pay the price. Well, it is what it is. When you want to be exciting and you want to be on American TV or you want to entertain broadcasters, well, you'll get entertained with ZZZ, sleep. How you doing, Anthony? You're saying here CBS was given a fight with 2 point deductions and 2 fake knockdowns. Then he goes on to say the powers that be will shut out Okoli now. Well, Okoli for me was no big thing in the cruiserweight division, in my opinion. Yeah, he's a good fighter. Good, awkward type of fighter. But you're not going to go back and look. First of all, you don't run home to watch Lawerence Okoli fight. The fight that I thought was going to be real beef between him and Isaac Chamberlain, that had such road talk and all that stuff. When it came to the fight, it was absolutely boring. That was the fight I expected Lawerence Okoli to come out in. Didn't. Tell you, listen, Mike. Tyson Fury talk about Mack truck and running people over. If Richard Riakporhe ever fights Lawerence Okoli, he will run Okoli over completely. I'm telling you now. I am saying Richard Riakporhe is the best cruiserweight in the world. I'm saying it. He's not got a world title. He will do. Don't worry about that. Says Lawerence Okoli has achieved. He relied too much on physical gifts. Done well to get this far. Well, too on physical gifts or just a straight or the right hand. Never rated Conlon, so was happy to see the odds so close. Put on Lopez. Yeah, I didn't rate Conlon either. I wasn't a big Conlon fan. Conlon is another fighter who expects everything to be given to him on a platter. Because of that, another amateur decision years ago. Yep. What the fight showed me is that without holding Okoli's paw, no inside guide and not a consistent thudding jab for such a tall boxer. Again, Henry Akinwande. And Okoli is one-dimensional at this stage. Henry Akinwande, the second coming of Henry Akinwande. I said it. Okoli called that Dwyer on his post-fight interview where he won the world title. LOL. Lawerence Okoli is the second coming of Henry Akinwande. I've said this, God only knows how long. The next one to go is Joshua Buatsi. He's the other one. Joshua Buatsi is next in line from the 1-2-3 management. Let's see who's been from 1-2-3 management. Anthony Joshua. That was terrible management. Lawerence Okoli. Well, we'll see where that worked out. How the hell do you end up fighting in Bournemouth? Bournemouth. My God. You know, you could have fought Richard Riakporhe. Oh. My God. Guys, Toby says, didn't Ben pitch Okoli at the new face of Sky Sports? Oh, dear. Well, I don't know where he was going at. I would have told him that was ill-advised. If you're going to put... Sometimes I wonder who the hell these people are in boxing and make some dumbass decisions. Why would you put Okoli as the face of boxing? What's entertaining about Lawerence Okoli? I would have rather put Richard Riakporhe as the face of boxing, new face of boxing, because you've got a journey there. You've got a guy that can punch. You've got a guy that can talk. You've got a guy that's entertaining. Why then would you put Richard... Let me just move on here. What do you get with Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez? I got Lopez by knockout. Yarde will ice Buatsi. I've said it 1,000 times. Yarde will ice Buatsi. Marilu, great to see you, my darling. Hope that you're well. Why hasn't Buatsi fought anyone yet? What are they hiding? Glass. And a chin that's been checked. Wait till he fights somebody who can punch. Mark my words. Ingram, do you think we overrate a lot of our British boxers? I've been thinking this for a while now. Yes, yes, and yes. Buatsi hiding glass. Absolutely. I think Sky resigned Riakporhe. We signed Riakporhe. He's their new face now. Yes, Richard Riakporhe should have been the face. CBS is a new face of Sky Boxing. He looks like the mainstream... Listen, I'm not getting into that political game there. I'm not getting into that political game. I'm really not. But I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. So, absolute rubbish. What is it with these 258 management fighters? I call them 1-2-3 management. Anthony Joshua, Lawerence Okoli, Joshua Buatsi. They find themselves either getting knocked out by strange people at strange times in strange circumstances. I mean, what the hell was he doing in Bournemouth? I still can't get my head around it. CBS won't be holding that belt for long based on his performance. No, he won't. He won't. You know I'm right, Ingram. Oh, I know you're right. Because middle-class mainstream guy who looks and talks well, Sky love it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, you can hold on to them belts fighting a bunch of, you can get some British beef with a couple of guys. You know, you can fight at Bournemouth and a guy along the coast. You can have a defense. You know, you could have the Bournemouth brigade, and he could fight like how Josh Warrington fights for Leeds. It could be in Bournemouth and just fight in that arena for, the next, I don't know how long. And then Okoli can go back into the Lions' den to fight CBS. In fact, they can have a trilogy all in Bournemouth. All right. Nice. They'll probably stick Luke Watkin against CBS. That's what I'm saying. There you go. Luke Watkin. Get him in there. Tell you what, CBS, what is he? Cruiserweight. I wonder if there's any way that Chris Eubank Jr. can make it up to cruiserweight. Brighton versus Bournemouth. I think what else? Let's keep thinking. You must have the same. Can you... DLG, good to see you in the house. CBS won't hold on to belt long. This is boxing. After all, not Premiership football. CBS can hold on to belt for a very long time. Of course he can. The powers that be can get him to hold that title for a while. How does Chamberlain do against anyone good? Is he a legit threat? I thought Chamberlain would go on to become a world champion. I really did. Who you got? Spence Crawford. Don't really want to talk about it at the moment. Let's get closer to the time. Maybe Anthony Yarde versus CBS at cruiserweight. London, but yeah. Maybe could have it as yeah. Maybe. Could see that fight. It's a good fight. To be honest, it's their best shot of a world title now because they ain't winning no world title at light heavyweight. That's for sure. You better move your ass up, Yarde and Tunde. Make a master move. Move up and fight Chris Billam Smith for the light heavyweight cruiserweight championship of the world in Bournemouth. I'll take that fight. Chamberlain will finish, quite possibly. I think so now. Quite possibly now. Yeah. Guys, will the right hand land on the sand? How about that one? LOL, the most on the coast. Yarde can beat Badou Jack for WBC. Yarde has fought a cruiserweight before in many early fights. Yeah, I would take that fight. Me, Yarde versus CBS. But Yarde's with Frank Warren, isn't he? Yarde's with Frank Warren. I would take that fight. CBS, Yarde, make the fight. Yarde versus Badou Jack. No, mate. No. You see these guys that are technically proficient. Badou Jack, Bivol, Beterbiev or Beterbiev. These guys have got boxing fundamentals. Yarde has not got boxing fundamentals. And every time he gets beat is because guys have got better boxing fundamentals. Against this guy, Chris Billam Smith, if you look at his face, he's a guy that will eat right hands all night long. Shalom and Warren are on good terms. Yeah, so I think the Yarde fight could be made here. Yeah, Yarde versus CBS is good. Yeah, it's a good fight. I know people are listening in. I know people like to listen to my show, and this is a good fight to make. Tunde, wherever you are in the world, get your think tank together and make the fight with CBS. That's your only hope of becoming a world champion, because you're not doing it at light heavyweight, for sure. For sure. And I'm going to actually make another statement. I actually think Anthony Yarde is weight drained at light heavyweight. If you notice how Anthony Yarde, he picked his shots, but he can't throw 4 or 5 punches together against elite opposition. I think it's because he's weight drained. And I think it's because, like, when you weight drain, or you're not as strong as you should be at the weight, you're always thinking about your stamina. If you can do the 12 rounds, you're always thinking about pacing yourself. But when you're in against world-class opposition don't give you the time to think. They force the fight upon you. So then you have to exert yourself more than you normally would. So in the Okoli fight, he exerted himself more because Tunde went and told him, go empty the tank. But Kovalev was already exerting himself by putting the pressure on, by just using the jab. Because in them other fights, you look at Yarde, he's in control of the fights. The 2 fights you've seen him get knocked out in are the 2 fights pressure's been put on him by legitimate guys who can punch and legitimate guys who've got good or great boxing fundamentals from the amateurs through to the pro game. That's what's happened. He goes, no, Badou Jack at 90 years old is still too much of a risk for Yarde. Of course he is. Too much of a risk. Tifimo probably ices Taylor. I think Taylor is finished. I think he ices Taylor personally. What about Callum Smith versus CBS after he gets iced? But you know what? I'm backing Smith to win that fight. The Callum Smith that's been trained by Buddy McGirt, and I might come back and eat my words. This Callum Smith today he's fighting. He's coming out the blocks and he's letting his hands go. The one that was with Joe Gallagher used to sit on the ropes for no reason whatsoever. Smith used that long jab and works the body and works the head. I really think Smith can pull off the victory here. And you've got Wonder. He just better be if he came off that fight against Yarde. That wasn't an easy fight for him. That was a hard fight for him. He's getting older. This is a good opportunity. He's not getting younger. He's not getting better. Good opportunity for Callum Smith. Yarde has too much of a muscle frame, kind of like Joshua. You can see the lactic acid build up around 5. Yes, but It's how you train that lactic acid. It's how you trained. It's how you train your body. You've got to train your body so it's able to. So where you have muscle fatigue, you've got to train more. So you're training your body and your muscles to work through the stress. But if you have the stress and you just lay off, and that's the time you've got to work harder. So when you've got that lactic acid, that's when you've got to work harder. So your muscles begin to get used to tiredness. Do you understand? You've got to work through that. Teofimo Lopez, if he is anything like he was before the Cambosos loss, would be the shoe in to beat Taylor. But we've not seen Teofimo since the loss. I think Teofimo pulls it off against Taylor. Taylor can't do 140 either. Fighters at 140. Lopez knocks him out. Some fighters take their first loss and they never adjust. Teofimo Lopez, Nassim Hamed, Ricky Hatton, Pac-Man, Ali, Foreman, Archie Moore, and Leigh Wood make adjustments and went on to greatness. Leigh Wood, shout out to Leigh Wood, made the adjustments. We knew he was winning the fight until he got clipped by Lara. Lara was throwing that punch from, we saw he was setting up that punch. So they made the adjustments and he came back like a champion. Some guys get knocked out and are traumatized by a knockout. Some guys can come back and make the adjustments. That's why I didn't really make a prediction for that fight. I said if he can make the adjustments, he can win the fight. But if he can't make the adjustments, he gets knocked out and quicker. He made the adjustments and he won. I always said Leigh Wood was a good fighter. I always rated Leigh Wood. Always rated him. Always rated his skill set. John Smith, yes. If that same hunger, lethal, explosive Teofimo shows up, some fighters, if they lose, they'll get dented mentally. Leigh Wood, good fighter. Rumor is Lara diet is peaked on junk food. Okay, well, there was a guy who used to fight back in the early 2000s or late 90s. No, it's two of them. There was a guy who fought Shane Mosley twice and Oscar De La Hoya. Mayorga. Is it Mayorga? Yeah, Mayorga. Mayorga used to smoke 40 cigarettes a day. Was it Mayorga? Yeah, Mayorga. And there was the guy before that who McCulloch fight. Wayne McCulloch fought. And he was smoking cigarettes. He was a chain smoker. But he was a two Zaragoza, world champion. So some of them guys are geniuses how they become world champions. And they were damn good world champions as well. Leigh Wood was patient, stayed disciplined, and kudos to his corner for reeling in at times when he was feeding himself and wanted a firefight. Yeah, it's because he got his ass knocked out. Didn't want to happen again. I remember Mayorga. Yeah, it's him, LOL. Yeah, Mayorga, there you go. I heard James Toney and James Toney's fighting. James Toney's fighting again. I think he's fighting Shannon Briggs. I think he's fighting soon. James Toney and Rickendale are both smokers and they both eat terrible. Still all-time greats. True that. Tony had the it factor, legend. Usain Bolt, chicken nuggets just don't add up, but yeah. There you go. There you have it. Shout out to Leigh Wood, by the way. That could have ended horribly wrong for Leigh Wood if he'd got smashed to bits again. I don't expect such adjustments from Joe Joyce, though. I really don't. And I don't see those adjustments from Okoli either. Because you know Okoli's going to grab and hug when you hit him on the chin. When you get inside, he's got no inside game. So I think Billiam Smith and his team can be happy. And that if Okoli takes that intermediate rematch, he won't win that fight. I think it will be another fight where Smith will win. James Toney went from 154 to heavyweight and said, yeah, when I was growing up, I wasn't fully dedicated. What? Imagine if he had really applied himself. Yeah. Where's the rematch for Joyce at? I think he's in China. You know what? I'm going to say something now. There's a lot of people in boxing who can't manage and a lot of people who can't match make. They can make money, they can lose a lot of money, but they can't match make, they can't train, they can't give strategy, and dear me. I think CBS just has Okoli's number. Yeah, but I think any fighter that's aggressive like that is going to have Okoli's number. That doesn't give him space. I mean, I didn't see the fight, but he sparred him. He knows Okoli inside out. So, yeah. I don't want to go on too much more. And I don't want to talk about Spence and Crawford because for so long, Spence and Crawford was talked about so damn long. So, I just think as close as the fight's in July, I think I might do a prediction video, you know, closer to July because I don't know. The fight's announced, but I don't know if the fight's going to happen. And I thought it was terrible. They had, Stephen A. Smith talking about Spence Crawford. I'm like, why Stephen A. Smith to get the first Spence and Crawford together? A guy who just, oh my God. It was terrible. You can tell. No, never mind. Okoli got smashed. If I was in Okoli's corner, I would be hoarse for shouting him. Stop standing in the pocket, admiring your work and trading. You don't have to tell. You don't have to. You'd have better feet. You have to be better. You have the better feet to Lopez. Oh, Conlon's corner you're talking. Sorry. I thought you were talking about Okoli. Sorry. My bad. I thought Sugar Hill could turn fighters into KO artists. Don't think Sugar Hill was the correct trainer for Okoli. I think the reason why Sugar Hill was brought in was because of Tyson Fury's height and reach, and he's trained heavyweights. For me, because the way Okoli fights, his mentality, I think I'm going to say the name Adam Booth. And here's why I say Adam Booth. Lawerence Okoli is a guy that hits and doesn't get hit. I mean, he doesn't want to get hit. And Adam Booth's style is in and out. He doesn't want you to get hit. So it's in and out, sniper style. So a guy like Lawerence Okoli, he'd have to set up some sort of strategy for Lawerence Okoli not to get hit. I'm not saying Adam Booth's a great trainer, but I think it makes a good fit when you think about the mentality of Lawerence Okoli and then a guy like Adam Booth who teaches fighters to hit and not get hit. Stephen A. Smith's knowledge of boxing is like my knowledge of Confucianist Chinese history, sketchy at best. I think Okoli should have stuck to boring and defensive fighter. Well, instead of trying to be overly aggressive. Well, this is what happens when you have the pressure of broadcasters and promoters that say to you, you know, mate, you know, the tickets didn't sell as well as they should have done. You know, you need to engage more with the public. You need to engage more with a fan-friendly style. I mean, all right. Let me put it this way. I know people talk about, and watch this a second. I know people talk about boring styles, yeah? Tyson Fury moved the Deontay Wilder fight aside for 1 second. Because it was Deontay that made the fight exciting, because he was coming to bring the heat. Other than that, what makes Tyson Fury exciting? Majority of the Tyson Fury's fights are not exciting. His comeback fight was boring. His Pianetta fight was boring. Then he fought, what's his name, Tom Schwartz? Well, Tom Schwartz is low level. Again, the guy that he fought, the Southpaw, it was because of the Southpaw style and his aggressive style that made the fight exciting. But Tyson Fury himself is not an exciting fighter. Dillian White's style, or lack of it, getting himself knocked out, and Derek Chisora's come forward. So it's not Tyson Fury's style that's exciting. He's not an exciting fighter. So when people talk about boring and defensive, don't tell me Tyson Fury's an exciting fighter. He's not. The end result might be exciting. The knockout might be great, but he's not an exciting fighter to watch. I can see Lawerence Okoli see Adam Booth turning Okoli into a basic sharpshooter with a simple 1-2 and a low left hand with a wide stance. Well, you can see it. I'm just saying it because you can see the mentality. Both of them are going to agree on one thing. Lawerence Okoli, I don't want to get hit. And then Adam Booth would say, well, you shouldn't want to get hit. And then Lawerence Okoli said, that's right, Adam. I don't really want to get hit because I don't like it. Well, the idea of boxing is to hit and not get hit, right, Lawerence? And Lawerence would go, yes, Adam. Yes, Lawerence. There you go. Adam Booth and Lawerence Okoli. There you go. Same mentality. Let them work together. Exactly. So true. Fury is counter-punching, really. Nothing really imposed on him. Exactly. He's not an exciting fighter. So when people say, oh, he's boring, Mayweather's boring. Well, Fury's not exciting. Fury, if you're honest, the most exciting thing about Tyson Fury is his press conferences and the crap he talks. In fact, his WWE career is more exciting. And the exciting thing about Tyson Fury is when he's getting off the canvas. Just remember, the Steve Cunningham fight got dropped. Wilder fight, he got dropped. What's this guy? The guy from Canada that dropped his ass. Exciting fight. Fight against Chisora, the first one, which I thought was more exciting. Fury got hit with an overhand right and hurt. But otherwise, it's what it is. Fury was born versus Chisora, couldn't care him. Thought he was a KO artist. How much do you rate Sugar Hill in terms of all-time great trainers wise? I don't. Think about it. Sugar Hill was a little boy when Emmanuel Stewart was around in his prime. James Ali Bashir was Sugar Hill's right hand, was Emmanuel Stewart's right-hand man. So I don't know why everyone's giving all this praise to Sugar Hill. I don't. That's the most famous get up in the 12th round of history. Not the win, the get up in the 12th round. That's what I'm saying to you. Niven Pychik, there you go, the Canadian. First got dude to drop him. And I remember how I met Peter Fury when he first come on board. I think at that time, Fury had a Canadian trainer. And Peter came in and said to him, if you keep having barroom rumbles like this, you're not going to become a world champion. And that's where Peter Fury came in and he fought Martin Rogan. He had that southpaw style when he fought, I think he fought Martin Rogan then with Peter Fury. And you can see how Fury's whole style changed. Do you rate Sonny Edwards as one of Britain's best? I did rate him until he went to Eddie Hearn. He is now going to get paid well and he's going to get knocked out. Wait and see. I said about Josh Warrington. He left. He went to Eddie Hearn. What happened? Billy Saunders. He signed with Eddie Hearn in a match for him. He left. He went to Eddie Hearn. Great signing. Got what? Smashed to bits by Canelo. Where is he now? But Sonny has been asking for these big fights. Yeah, the reality is you can ask for the big fights, but the reality is when they come, we'll see. It's all right asking for it. Nathan Cleverly was asking for Kovalev. And Frank Warren said, don't take that fight. In the first round of that fight, when I told people that Kovalev is going to be a serious hombre, the guy punches and he's going to put Cleverly to sleep. When Cleverly got hit by Kovalev in that first round, the referee escorted Cleverly back to the corner. Escorted him back to the corner. Have you ever seen? He was out on his feet. Go back and look at that fight again. He escorted Cleverly back to the corner. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. He was asking for the big fight. He got it. He got the reality. He had the reality check that the belt he held wasn't the. He was deluded into believing that he was. I'm not saying Sonny Edwards is deluded. Sonny Edwards is incredibly talented, but based on the history of the people he's joining, they'll stick him in. They'll stick him in with King Kong tomorrow and make money off of him. They will do, and they won't give a damn as long as they get the money. They don't care. Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren, better promoter for upcoming fight. Who do you think? I'll say Frank Warren. Frank Warren. If you think about management, if you talk about matchmaking, Frank Warren. If you talk about making money, Eddie Hearn. If you talk about, you know what you do? This is how you do it. You get managed by Frank Warren up to the point where you are world class. Then when you become world class, you sign for Eddie Hearn. Then you're going to make the big money and get knocked out. That's how I do it. But you know what? You can go to Ben Shalom. Go to Ben Shalom because you get the exposure. Ben Shalom. I like Ben. Ben Shalom. So I wouldn't go to Frank or Eddie. I'd go to Ben Shalom. After speaking of referees, that referee was a joke in the Pickford Eggington fight. Stopped it way too soon. What happened with that fight? I thought they said Pickford was a new Carl Froch. What happened? At the time, Kovalev had a KO jab, good feet, and sound ability. I always held him as undisputed. Wasn't his fault Stevenson held the WBC strap hostage. When it comes to color commentary, got to have Carl Froch, Nazim Howard, and yes, Ingram with Adam Smith. Color commentary. Why did Dubois leave McGuigan? And has he got any hopes against Usyk? No, he's not got a hope in hell against Usyk. And he's not got a hope in hell against Usyk. Let's leave it as that. It's the end of Daniel Dubois. It is the end of Daniel Dubois. Usyk's going to ruin him something silly. Wait, hold on. Yeah, Usyk's going to ruin him something silly. As soon as Usyk lands a straight left hand down the pipe once or twice, the fight will end within 4 or 5 rounds. I'm telling you now. If Dubois doesn't quit on the stool or doesn't take a knee, one of the two. Telling you now, Dubois is going to get stopped by Usyk and stopped early. But as soon as that left hand lands on Dubois and the legs buckle, that's it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's no way Dubois beats Usyk. No way Dubois. Dubois is stiffer than Joshua. Dubois is stiffer than Joshua. No chance. I think Caroline surpassed her brother Daniel. I think the best Daniel Dubois we're going to get. Caroline is already showing promise. Next year, I think we'll see her in Shields. Okay, maybe. Who's training Dubois now? He's got more trainers in JD Sports. Oh, you're funny. I don't know. But I think Dubois needs a father figure. I think Dubois... Actually, you know who I think would be a good trainer for Daniel Dubois? Funnily enough, is Don Charles. Don Charles would be a good trainer for Daniel Dubois because he's got a father-like figure. He's father-like figure. And he's passionate. And he'll take time with Daniel Dubois. And he'll look after Daniel. So I think Don Charles would make a good trainer for him. Don Charles is his new trainer, Ingram. What? Are you joking? Are you joking? You're kidding, right? Because I would have Don Charles as Dubois' new trainer. I would. Because Don Charles has got that father-like figure. Good trainer. He'll take his time with him. But that won't save him against Alexander Usyk. It's just different class. First of all, don't even look at Dubois' punching power. Look at his footwork. Look at his footwork. No joke. Wow. His dad should just change Dubois. Dad seems to find fault with every other trainer anyway. Okay. I'm serious. Well, maybe the dad's got something to do with it. I don't know. Don Charles would be a good trainer. Daniel Dubois needs a solid trainer, someone who can teach him the honors of the jab and grab. That's his best bet of having any longevity. Shane McGuigan is one of the most overrated trainers. Don't rate him at all. Well, if his name wasn't McGuigan, who would give up? Well, you said it, not me. I didn't say that. But I will say this much. I think that Dubois got a problem. He's got a big problem. And I don't know if Don Charles can fix that problem. Me personally, if I could swerve the Usyk fight, I would swerve the Usyk fight. Like completely swerve the Usyk fight. That's one of those fights that he's not winning. It's feet. Look at Dubois' feet. Dubois has to set his feet to throw punches. So all Usyk's going to do is turn him. And Dubois is like turning around like a statue. And as he turns, he's going to get popped with a straight left hand straight down the middle. So he turns to face him, he'll get popped with a straight left hand down the middle. And that's all she wrote. If his name was Shane Smith, nobody would join him. LOL. Random off-topic question. How do you deal with fame on occasion? You get media coverage in the UK and Nigeria. But I'm not sure about that. I don't quite understand what you're asking there. But you have to ask that question again to me. It's an off-topic question, but ask me that question again. I don't quite understand it. If he had been in my time, he wouldn't have got knocked Spark out. Believe me when I say that. Nassim Hamed. Dubois getting seriously hurt by Kevin Lorraine doesn't bode well. That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. So I don't know what Frank's going to do with him. I have no idea what Frank. And people talk about, Dubois is going to have the rematch against Joyce, and Joyce would get beat by Dubois. No chance. Dubois still won't move his head. Dubois, as soon as he gets hit by Joyce, I can see Dubois getting clipped by Usyk in round 5 or something and trying to block a body shot or having the left hand too low. I just see Dubois walking into, like turning into a left hand. It would be outside the range of the right hand, and you'll slip outside the range of the right hand and slip the left hand down the middle. It's too slow. Feet are too flat. And there's no way. I actually rate Don Charles as a trainer. I just think that he's not been given the opportunity to really work with a real top flight fighter. You know? Yeah, that's my thoughts. So I think it's a good mix. I think it's a good mix there. Don Charles and Daniel Dubois. I just think it's come at the wrong time because he's going to get absolutely smashed to bits. I'm telling you, it's going to be painful to watch. I think Don Charles gets too emotional. I could say that firsthand. But I'd rather an emotional trainer. Oh, well, hold on a second. Wait, you watched the Rocky movies, right? What's the one thing we know about Rocky's trainer? Apart from the great speeches, he was always emotional. Nobody said anything about Rocky's trainer being emotional, but we all love him. What's wrong with him being an emotional trainer? You could be a non-emotional trainer. Non-emotional, which means you don't even care for your fighter. I'd rather have an emotional trainer. Listen to that damn guy cares for me. I don't know. I like an emotional trainer. What would be your advice on bettering Dubois' chance against elite opposition? Maturity. He's like a boy in a man's body, Daniel Dubois. He's like a boy in a man's body. He hasn't fully matured. And Dubois needs to spend time. If I'm Dubois and I'm Don Charles, I would sit down with Dubois and I'd make him study the history of heavyweight boxing. And I'd make him sit down night after night and talk with him and say, well, all right, Daniel, where do you see yourself in the heavyweight division, honestly? And like, talk with him. Like, because, like, even literally when you sat down and you go back and watch Dubois and Joyce when they're in that bloody warehouse. I think it's warehouse. And they were doing that interview, that one-on-one. Oh, yeah, face-off. And Frank was there. And who's Frank and, what's that guy's name again? Sam Jones. And if you listen to Dubois, yeah, I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to knock you out. Yeah. Sound like a kid. Sound like a school kid. I'm going to knock you out. Yeah, Frank, I'm going to knock him out. It's like, and I'm thinking to myself, bro, you're not mature yet. You haven't reached that level of maturity. And so therefore you will fight like a kid. And once you get hit in the mouth, it's all she wrote. And that's what happened. That's true. I think being emotional is better than being not emotional. Yeah, I think so. I'd hate to have a non-emotional trainer. Non-emotional has its place, right? Non-emotional when you are in the line of fire, right? When the heat is on, when you're non-emotional, when you can, like, good example, Andre Ward getting knocked down for the first time in his career against Sergey Kovalev. And you look at Virgil Hunter or Lou Duva is it Lou Duva? Not Lou Duva. No, Angelo Dundee. Angelo Dundee in the corner of Sugar Ray Leonard in the 14th round against Thomas Hearns. He was losing. And he comes out, you're blowing it, son, you're blowing it. If he wasn't emotional, he was non-emotional, that fight would just slowly slipped away. And that we would not have had the greatness there. Emmanuel Stewart, are you going to say Emmanuel Stewart wasn't emotional? Emmanuel Stewart, go and look at Emmanuel Stewart when Lennox Lewis was fighting Mike Tyson. Go and look at Ronnie Davis when he was in the corner with Chris Eubank. He'd say, come. And at times he'd slap Eubank in his face. Non-emotional. Come on, history is our best teacher. Sam Jones is gold. It's hilarious. He is. But I don't know where he was going with Joe Joyce was going to win against Zile Zhang. I don't know where he was going with that prediction because I've always thought Sam Jones was more astute than that. I don't know where he was going about Joe Joyce was going to smash Zile Zhang. I don't know where he was going with that one. Oh, Ward's knocked down against Kovalev a second time. The first was against Darnell Boone. Yeah, I know. Sorry, my mistake there. Darnell, I'm so sorry, my brother. Darnell was a regular on the channel. Ward versus Eddie Chambers. Stewart going nuts after round 12. Yep, there you go. So all this stuff about non-emotional, I would have to disagree with those guys. There's moments where being emotional, I tell you a guy who's emotional, really emotional, for no point whatsoever, and don't gain anything out of him, Teddy Atlas. He's an emotional dude as a trainer, and I'd never want him as my trainer, ever. Imagine, you just got knocked down by Pacquiao, going back to the corner, and he's talking to you about firemen. Man, listen, I got a minute to clear my head. This dude's going to come and rattle off 5 or 6 punches at me at a time. I need some strategy here. I need to clear my head. You talk about firemen. Get out of here, man. Yeah, Angie Garcia slapping Danny Garcia in the face in the corner and splashing him with water against Khan. Wake up, Danny. Wake up. There you go. We still never saw the first Kovalev versus Boone fight where he had Kovalev on the floor like 3 times. Yeah, we also haven't seen the fight where Wilder got dropped by what's that guy's name again? Got dropped by a guy heavily, and the count was 9. Shout out to Ingram and the chat. Shout out to you too, my brother. Zile Zhang is so underrated. Wish he got more chances at the big time. Oh, he's going to get his chance. Don't worry about that. Do you remember Norman Stone? He was Comedy Gold, Ruiz's trainer. Yeah. Wasn't it? Whack him. I did Norman Stone train Ray Mercer. Ray Mercer versus Lennox Lewis. I'm always in stitches about that fight. Where, like, Mercer goes back to the corner against Lennox, and Ray Mercer goes back to the corner, and you hear in the corner, just whack him. Just whack him. I'm with myself. Is that the instructions you're giving to fight an Olympic gold medalist. Well, your guy's an Olympic gold medalist. Lennox is an Olympic gold medalist. You're both fighting as pros now, and you tell him, go whack him. Sconius, that's the fight, my friend. Norman Stone, so emotional. So, yep. I remember him very well. So there is a place for emotional trainers, but it's when you're emotional. It's the timing. Remember Mark Tibbs? Somebody said something to Mark Tibbs. I couldn't remember where it was. And Mark Tibbs was ready to fight himself. I think there's a place for emotional trainers. And there's a place where emotional trainers get you knocked out. So empty the tank was an emotional thing to have said. And we all know what happened there. Norman Stone got sent out the ring during one of the Ruiz's fights. He called James Tony the phony. Hello. Then almost fight him. I remember that one. Yeah, Mark Tibbs versus Chisora. Yeah, Tibbs was going to have it with Chisora for the white fight. Tibbs, you're going down, son. Oh, dear me. So, yeah, there's a place for emotional trainers. It's well-placed emotion. It's when you use it. Ali got up. Leonard got up. You got up. Don't entertain that for a moment, Virgil Hunter shouted to Ward in the corner of Kovalev. Yeah, I remember that. That's what you talk about, emotion. And you know what? The commentary team that night were hating so much on Ward. Oh, he's down for the first time in his career. He's never tasted that type of power before. I remember myself, that was a moment of commentary of hating. At that point in time when Ward went down, the commentary team, like, you could see them, they had big smiles on their face and they were clenching their fists and they're like, yeah, we got him. Yes, Ward is down. Go back and listen to the commentary of that fight. And go back and listen to the American commentary. And I don't know who it was. Yeah, Ward's not tasted that type of power before. Like, yeah, Russian power. And wait, hold on. Your American commentators talking about Ward not tasting that type of power against a Russian. Sounds biased to me. Okoli looked like amateur with Sunny Delight. Sugar Hill, red jab and right hand. Good evening. How you doing? It's been a while. I hope that you're well. He looked terrible. Yeah, he looked terrible. But I don't know if that was an emotional thing with Okoli. I don't know if he wanted to hand the belt over to CBS. I don't know if he was told to hand the belt over. I don't know if he was frightened the night. I don't know. You could have so many conspiracy theories. You could think, oh, well, you know what? I don't know. All I do know is that he's the second coming of Henry Akinwande. That's all I know. And the second coming of Henry Akinwande has arrived. Right. Again, congratulations to Leigh Wood. Again, congratulations to CBS. What's his name again? Oh, I forgot the guy's name now. Oh, Billiam Smith. What's his first name? God, I forgot the guy's name now. Can you believe it? I forgot the guy's name. I forgot his name again. Is it Callum Billam Smith? Chris Billam Smith. That's it. Callum Billam Smith. Yeah, shout out to CBS. Chris Billam Smith. Shout out to him. Congratulations on becoming WBO champion of the world, defeating Lawerence Okoli. Chris Billam Smith. Yeah, shout out. So if Lawerence Okoli is called hot sauce, then what we're gonna call what do they call it? Chris Billam Smith. Maybe he might try. Do you remember that show where they have all their celebrities eating hot sauce, chicken wings with hot sauce? Maybe you can get some sponsorship with them because he's proven to be much hotter than the sauce that was advertised, where Okoli was hot sauce. So CBS can be, I don't know what kind of sauce they're going to have to call him. What's after hot pepper sauce? Maybe they'll call him triple hot sauce. I don't know. Okoli. Okoli. I'm gone. Okoli. Thank you all for watching. Just before I finish, let me share something with you. I want to share this with you. So let me see if I can bring this up on my screen, if it's possible. Is it possible? Let me see if it's possible. Is it possible? Let me see if it's possible. Let me see if it's possible. Is it possible? Let me see this. Present. Let me see this. See if this is possible. Can I share this with you? It is possible. Right. Let me tense up. All right. That's it. This is what I'm doing. This is the community that I'm working with in Nigeria. These are all the cricketers I've been coaching. There's about over 350 or more students that are, a year ago, there were no cricketers, literally no cricketers. In that year, we've had some players representing the southwest of Nigeria. Some have represented Lagos. So now I've got a connection now with the Caribbean. So we've got, if you see in the left here, there's the Trinidad and Tobago flag. You've got the British flag, obviously from the UK. You've got the Nigerian flag. So yeah, if you want to as well, go across to the YouTube channel, Ikorodu Community Cricket. Of course, go to our Facebook page. It's there as well. I'm there every week, every day, and you can really get to see the work I'm doing yourselves. Mainly on the Facebook page, we've got lots of stuff coming up, lots of videos. We've got our league coming up soon as well. I'm really fortunate and thankful that the funding, some of the funding we've got from the UK, because I'm working with the Home Office at the moment in the UK. Because if it wasn't for the funding from the Home Office, see all those jerseys you've seen there, the yellow tops and the turquoise tops, those are tops that are sponsored by the UK government. So yeah, I want you to see that, to show you what's going in the community. CBS is the ghost pepper, he is indeed. So yeah, I want you to see that. Go across, check out the YouTube channel, check out the Facebook page. I really want my long-time supporters to get across. It doesn't matter if you don't like cricket. It's not about you really watching cricket. I just want you to be able to see like other things I'm doing in my life outside of being on the keyboard and talking about other people's lives. I want you to see kind of what I'm doing in my life. So I'm really asking for your support. Just come watch. It's really good to have a friendly face, someone that I know. Shout out to a few people. Leigh Gramerson. Shout out to him. He's been such a support since I've been out here in Ikorodu. Real shout out to him. He's been like a real brother. Never met the guy face to face, but when I come to England, like I said, eventually when I get back to England, we're going to Wetherspoon's pub, or we're going to you're coming to the O2 Arena, and we're going to, what's the place called again? My favorite restaurant, which is Jimmy's Spices. That's world buffet. It's got all the best foods and all the best different dishes in the world, and all you can eat. So Leigh, we're going. I'm taking you out. I'll say Wetherspoons at first, but bro, I love Wetherspoons, but that's my own personal thing there with that. But yeah, we're going to have a world buffet, and we're going to eat and drink and be merry. But I just want to show you this anyway. Thank you all so much for watching BWTM Sports Gaming. Take care. And much love to you all. Be safe.